This show contains spoilers and adult language. Listener discretion is advised.
Movies with Ron, movies with Ron.
Hell yeah, motherfucker.
Movies with Ron.
I don't know if you guys know this, but Michael Jackson once spent $150,000 to put a curse on Steven Spielberg because he did not give Michael the role of Peter Pan in the movie Hook.
No way.
Wow. Yes way. He had to wire, and I quote, $150,000 to a voodoo chief in Mali who had 42 cows ritually sacrificed in order to do the curse.
Oh my God.
Yes. I don't understand. He should have just slept with him like the lady from Temple of Doom.
Hey now, Harrison Ford is hardly a lady.
Welcome to episode 94 of Movies with Ron, the podcast where my older brother recaps a movie he saw from beginning to end for me and you, because we like his versions better. It's okay if you've seen the movie. It's okay if you haven't seen it. The experience is unique. So, let's get it on. I'm Chris, your MC for the time being. Here with me tonight are sound guy Rick.
Hi.
Nurse Candy.
Hey, everybody.
And here he is, folks.
He's the ball cracker, death on foot. You know him, you love him. He's Ron.
Ron.
Hey, Ron.
Hey, Ron.
Hey, guys.
Good job last week with The Unholy, man.
Hey, thanks.
Loved it.
You know what I love the most about it?
What?
The character Luke.
Oh, yeah.
Remember Luke? I just love his, and I don't even know if I'd love it in the movie. I just love his recap of Luke. Father, you sound like a gangster. He's so pretty fly for a white guy kind of character.
Absolutely.
And it was fun to have in that kind of story. Hey, you know what I saw?
Huh.
Fucking Warcraft.
Yeah.
Oh.
Dude, I don't know why I waited so long. Well, I do. It's because we did the episode on it, which is excellent. But man, I kind of wish that movie did well. I want to see more Warcraft movies.
Are we never going to get any more?
I don't think so. I just thought they really sold the world of Azeroth. I liked it. The CGI for the orcs was great.
Yeah, man.
You
see them sweating when they're having sex.
But it is the greatest video game movie ever, in my opinion.
Oh, wow.
That movie was great.
I still haven't seen it.
It's like totally cheesy.
It's okay.
It's wearing a blanket of cheese, but when you pull it away, it's got some movie in there, man.
Did anybody see Ravenous on Netflix? Zombie movie?
Isn't it a cannibal movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was a Guy Pearce cannibal kind of thing going on there.
Oh, no. That was like...
From Trainspotting.
Yeah.
That was over a decade ago. No,
and
this
that
one's
child molester.
This one's brand new. It's a zombie movie. Looks kind of low budget. It's Canadian and it's in French. I couldn't stop watching it. It didn't challenge any of the typical zombie rules for the genre, but it was filmed like 80% in the Canadian woods, and it was quiet. It had this like Zen-like peaceful quality that made the violence that much more shocking. It actually looked like, it reminded me of something that you would make. If somebody handed you a small budget and said, here's your location, and you have to make a zombie movie. Like, this would be something that you would produce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone told them to film in the woods, because you know where you film your movie when you got no money. In the woods. But it's good, huh?
Yeah.
Listeners should watch it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Okay, let's get right to it. Pacific Rim. Uprising.
Yeah, baby.
Oh.
Directed by Stephen S. DeKnight, who only worked in television before this.
Yep.
He's the guy behind,
Daredevil.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh. He also did Spartacus for HBO.
Ah.
Spartacus was like Game of Thrones training wheels for HBO. But a lot of people stand by it. And he went to Guillermo del Toro, who, he made the first Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
He wanted his blessing. Guillermo told him, "Make your Pacific Rim, not mine." And, that's a red flag.
Yeah. Because I don't give a fuck.
I'm riding this Shape of Water dick.
No, the first Pacific Rim was so underrated, I think. It didn't get enough attention. Upon rewatching it, it just struck me as the great movie that it was. But it kind of just flew a little bit under the radar after it came out, I think. Maybe I'm wrong.
Huh.
You think it was big? It was a big deal?
It was a big deal.
I think it came out in a crowded summer
Yes, it did.
or season. With, I guess there was superhero movies going on and all that. But I think also partly people were kind of tired of big robots because of Michael Bay.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was.
But Del Toro, I mean, he's the reason why it still, stayed afloat. Like his storytelling mastery.
Absolutely. It was full of heart.
Yeah.
You could feel that it came from him. All right, cut that out.
No.
I guess it wasn't full of heart. He just cared about the monsters.
He cared
the
about
monsters were number
monsters
one.
and robots. He didn't care about anything else.
Oh, come on.
There was no humanity in that movie whatsoever, and
So you
except
Idris Elba?
Idris Elba. He was the bright spot in that movie.
Yeah.
And his awesome speeches.
Mm-hmm. He's saving the girl and stuff.
Yeah. And you can tell that they tried to flesh out the characters more in this one,
Yeah.
but it's like they tried too hard.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Oh.
Starring John Boyega. We like him, don't we?
We love him.
Mr. Star Wars, Mr. Rebel Scum, John Boyega. Trying to be a leading man. Trying to sail this movie across the Delaware.
He did okay.
Yeah. He's doing some speeches in the trailer, man. And it is he's stepping up.
He has one speech. It is definitely not as good.
He grew a mustache. And he's like, we're gonna do it. He's fucking doing that shit, man. You can tell he's not satisfied with Star Wars. Like, he does not want to be that guy that's running around part-time supporting role, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Who was he in Star Wars?
He was Finn.
Yeah. The black guy.
Oh, okay.
And he's Idris Elba's son, I believe, but I don't want to give too much away.
Yes, he is Idris Elba's son.
In the movie.
Idris Elba played Stacker Pentecost. And because he was the only good part of the human beings, this movie focuses on his son. Blondie couldn't make it to this one.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah, he's busy making a remake of Papillon.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what he said. He was actually obligated to come back for this.
Mm-hmm.
But the director was like, well, if your heart is in Papillon, I don't want you to be on set being a dickhead because you're mad. So you just go make your movie.
Yeah.
Blondie called him incredibly generous for that.
Oh. Isn't Papillon a Mel Gibson movie? The original?
No, Steve McQueen.
Oh, I had this joke planned where you're going to have to remake all of Mel Gibson's movies because he's such a demon now. I mean, did you see Daddy's Home 2?
No.
It's like everyone is acting around Mel Gibson.
Oh.
He's just standing around.
Yeah.
It's dark.
I heard he raped John Lithgow.
Also, Bern Gorman is in this movie. Who knows who he is?
Not me. Is he Gottlieb?
Yes.
Ah, yeah, okay.
And I love him
I
as
do
an
too.
actor. He's great.
He was in The Dark Knight.
Yeah. His father was a professor of linguistics at UCLA. And Bern Gorman, the son of the linguistics professor, is a beatbox champion.
Are you kidding me?
Not kidding. You can tell, man, he is all jaw.
Yeah, he is.
And his name is Bern. Also, Charlie Day came back for the sequel.
Oh, yeah. Unintentionally funny. All over the place.
It just made me think, The first one wasn't all about the robots and the kaijus. Like, you still followed the people on the ground. Characters having purposes and all that shit.
Yes.
For real.
Nope. They were merely a vehicle to get us to the robots and the monsters.
Do you think Guillermo connects with people?
Nope. Well, I don't know. Maybe he connects with Latino women.
What?
Oh, that's what all of his movies are about. He's
They're
like,
about
on the inside, this is who I am.
He's got a great sense for romance. That's true.
Yeah, man. That Shape of Water, that was hot.
No, Hellboy. I loved the romantic element in Hellboy. It was everything.
Yeah, not between two humans, though.
It
That's
made that
the
movie
same-
for me.
Same
True.
thing as Shape
Right.
of Water.
Right. That's okay with me.
Crimson Peak, pretty romantic, though.
Ooh, it was.
Between a brother and a sister.
Yes, yes, indeed.
I can't believe you guys both love the first Pacific Rim so much. I mean, the world loved it, number one. But they loved it because of all the show, all the glitter on it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, seriously, everybody sucked in that movie except Idris Elba. I mean, everybody.
Ron Perlman was all right.
Ron Perlman was great, I'll give you that. But he was still, like, nowhere near Idris, man.
I remember all you had ever seen of Charlie Day was, like, in that show.
That's right.
That was one of his first roles in a movie, and,
It's Always Sunny.
yeah.
That's huge. He was like already a huge star because of that show when he was in that movie. Even though he was new to film.
It could still be in worse hands, though. If a Guillermo del Toro movie comes out, you're going to go see it. You know that.
I didn't go see Crimson Peak. Did I? Man, if I did, that sucks. Okay, what about Loki? Loki. His sister giving him hand job. Yeah, I like this. I really connect with his sister. Tell me about the heart in Pacific Rim. You said it was full of heart.
Charlie Hunnam lost his brother at the beginning of the movie,
Yeah.
and he had to do this emotional comeback, right? To
but
be
it-
able to fight the kaiju again.
Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. Suckers for years.
It was so non-emotional, though. He was just like, yeah, it's time to fight. Like,
Well, I think the crux is like,
I can't believe I'm alone in this.
all right, you need two pilots to operate the Jaegers. And so it's all about him forming a connection with a new co-pilot.
Right.
Yeah.
Pacific Rim is Top Gun with kaijus.
If only we had Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer would have crushed this shit.
Dude.
Oh, yeah.
Out of the way, Peck.
Rick, did you see it?
Which one?
The first Pacific Rim.
Nope.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious.
Wow.
It's good, man.
I know
You would
that-
like it.
I know there's some interesting colors in it.
It's very colorful. It is a
very
fun
functional.
film. Dude, it's a fun movie.
Yeah, it's like a summer blockbuster kind of.
Absolutely. But it's like all icing, no cake. That's what I think.
That sounds sugary.
You think the robots and the monsters are the icing?
Well, they are.
They are.
I think they're a little more than icing. This isn't a traditional cake. It's like a cheesecake. They're kind of mixed.
I got something in the mail today, Chris. It's an invitation. It was addressed to you, though. But I opened it up anyway. And it says, I formally invite you to find a dick and, of course, suck it.
What's wrong with that?
I don't know.
He's got a bad back. That's what's wrong with that.
Who?
You
Yeah,
did- you-
explain.
It was addressed to him.
Well, he asked you.
I'm not going to suck his dick. Maybe a hand job. We'll call up Guillermo. We'll make a little short film. I want you to both wear dresses and wigs.
Don't call it a comeback.
All right, everybody, suit up. It's time to initiate Neural Hand Job, because it's Pacific Rim Uprising on Movies with Ron.
It's showtime.
Giant robots getting fucked by giant monsters in the butt. All right, so we start off with a voiceover, and it's John Boyega. You know, Finn?
Yeah.
And he's like, my generation was born into war. And then we just see a whole bunch of kaiju attacking human cities. These giant monsters named kaiju that came through the breach in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And they were sent by these aliens called the Precursors. And they destroyed all of our cities and everything. So we made our own monsters called Jaegers. It took 2 pilots to work a Jaeger. My father, Stacker Pentecost, you know, the only good guy from the first movie. He was one of them. And he ended up sacrificing himself to seal the breach. He was a hero. And I am not my father. And then we see Finn, and he is a party animal, baby. Snorting coke, having unprotected sex.
Oh, damn.
Random people at these, looks like the funnest parties on Earth. And he lives in one of the destroyed cities, because they rebuilt pretty much everything, but some of it they didn't. Mm-hmm. So this party is going on, like, right underneath the giant kaiju skeleton.
Oh.
And he's like, squatting in a half-demolished mansion is better than, you know, working in McDonald's in the city. And he's a street rat. Mm-hmm. And the way he survives is he, like, trades nice cars for, like, a case of sriracha.
Yeah.
And, you know, stuff like that. Like, shows him doing, like, backhanded deals for Oreo cookies.
What?
Like, that's how he gets by and survives. He, like, steals stuff.
Yeah.
Because he's like, money, you know, it doesn't have the same value in the broken zones. You never know who's going to take your hot sauce. But the most valuable thing that you can steal is Jaeger parts from decommissioned Jaeger scrapyards. Because there are people in the world that want to build their own Jaegers.
Oh, shit.
So they can, like, rob banks with them and stuff. He's like, so if you can steal what no one else can, you're the man. So it shows him breaking into this decommissioned Jaeger scrapyard. And there's this old giant robot, like, laying spread eagled on the ground.
Yeah.
And he's there with, like, a couple of shady characters. And he's there to steal them a capacitor. You know, I don't know, some giant robot part, okay? So they walk in right through the crotch. And he's got a little tracker. And it's like, target acquired. Target is at the center of the ball sack. So he's leading them in there, and the one guy is like, you better not screw this up. He's like, oh, man, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Yeah, last year you stole from me. Oh, shit, man, that was you? Well, now I'm stealing for you, so, you know, it's all good. They finally make it to the center of the ball sack, and the capacitor is missing. But his little tracker says that it's still here, but it's just moving. And he's like, whoa, somebody else is here. Someone else took this capacitor. And they're like, you double-crossing us! They start trying to shoot at him. He has to run away from them. So he's like doing all this parkour inside of this giant robot. And they finally corner him at a dead end. And they're like, ha ha ha, nice try. And then he just slams his foot on some switch, and it opens up a trap door underneath the bad guys. And he's like, yeah, all right, I am the man. And he runs off. As he leaves the robot, he sees the other person that was there that took the capacitor. And they're in a cloak, and they're just running away. And he's like, hey, that's mine. He starts chasing them. The crook jumps on a motorcycle and rides away, and he's about to chase it, but the Pan-Pacific Defense Corps, that's the name of the governing body now, they start chasing him in like cop cars and stuff. So he's like, oh, okay, guess I'll hang back. And then he pulls out his locator beacon, so he's like, he can find it later.
Yeah.
So it cuts to the next day, and he is sneaking into the crook's hideout. He gets in, and he sees all of these articles all over the wall of Jaegers, you know, kaiju war.
Yeah.
Because remember, it's been years since any kaiju attacked because they sealed the breach successfully.
Right.
And he's looking around, and there's all these cables running across the room, and they run into the next room, and then all of a sudden you hear them like power up and start humming. And he's like, whoa. And then he runs into the next room, and it is this giant hangar, and there is a makeshift junkie Jaeger in there that has just been turned on.
Oh.
And then all of a sudden he gets attacked by this crook in the cloak, and he takes him out pretty quickly and easily. The guy's pretty little. He takes off his hood. It's a little girl. She's probably like 15 years old.
Oh.
And he's like, whoa, did you build this? She's like, yeah, because I can totally sell this for so much money. She's like, Scrapper is not a toy. He is not for sale. And then all of a sudden, woo, 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 sirens. Okay. And she's like, you led them here? Oh, whoa, no, man, that's impossible. And she just jumps into the Jaeger cockpit. And we see that it's actually a much smaller Jaeger. It's maybe 3 or 4 stories tall.
Yeah.
And Finn is like, holy shit. And he just jumps into the cockpit with her. And he's like, all right, where's the second helmet? You know, so we can drift and pilot this thing. She's like, this thing's so small, it only takes one pilot. So get the hell out of here. And he's like, no, man, I'm not staying here. Come on. You know what? Let me drive. If you let me drive, I will get us out of here. All of a sudden, the Jaeger just starts moving and runs out of the building, like through the wall.
Yeah.
And it just runs away from the cops. And it's weird. It's like it's very round. Okay. In fact, it can roll into a ball and then just roll down the street. It's pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
It's all made out of like tricycles and vibrators. Garbage, you know. He's like, come on, I can get us out of here. She's like, I just did. Now, as a person is piloting a Jaeger, they're in this suit with a helmet on so they can control it with their own brain, you know? And they're surrounded by hologram shit. So she's like doing that stuff while he's yelling at her. So this Jaeger Scrapper is running down the street. It turns a corner and boom, runs into the foot of a real Jaeger.
Oh.
There's this huge blue Jaeger. And then this huge voice just booms at him. Stop. You are in violation of the Pan-Pacific Defense Corps, blah, blah, blah. This is the Jaeger November hand job. They all have call signs, you know? Finn's like, holy shit, it's November hand job. It's famous. Get the hell out of here. Come on, let me pilot. And then the girl just stops the Jaeger, her Jaeger Scrapper, and puts her hands in the air. And it's like this little tiny little robot next to this giant leg. Okay? And then Finn's like, what? You're giving up? Man, you are giving up too easy. Come on. Please let me pilot it. She's like, no. I'm not giving up. That's just what you think. And then out of the hands of Scrapper, just ting, 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 all these little tiny canister bombs just fly out of it. Oh. Once they hit the ground, they just release a smoke screen. And it's all around the feet of this big Jaeger. And then she rolls away and escapes. And November Handjob has to start chasing it around this demolished city. And you can hear as this giant robot is chasing this little thing, its voice is like, oh, come on, seriously? Eventually, she's running down the beach, and November Handjob corners her. And he's like, all right, this is your last chance. And he powers up some like guns in his knuckles, all right? And then just shoots all of these wires, little taser wires, all over Scrapper, and then just shocks it to death, so it falls. And then it rips open the cockpit, so they have to climb out. And it just cuts to them in jail.
Oh.
And they start fighting like, you shut up. No, you shut up. It's your fault. No, it's your fault. He's like, why did you build that? I built her because they're coming back. You know, they killed my family, and I just want to be ready. And then the guards come in to get Finn. They're like, let's go. They take him into this room, and he has to sit there and talk to a hologram of Mako, who is the girl from the first movie that Blondie had to bond with so that he could co-pilot a Jaeger with her.
Oh.
Yeah.
Only now she's like big and powerful. She's like a big member of the Security Council for Earth. So she's far too busy to come and see him. Remember, she was also Stacker Pentecost's adopted daughter. So they're brother and sister.
Oh, yeah.
So she's like, bro, you fucked up. You're in jail now. What the hell are you doing building your own Jaeger, man? You know, you used to be one of our best pilots, and then, you know, you just decided to abandon everything, and now you're doing this crap on the side? What the hell's wrong with you? And he's like, it wasn't mine. She's like, well, nobody else thinks that, so you can either go to prison, or there is one way out of this. And he's like, what? re-enlist. He's like, I'm too old to be a recruit. No. I don't want you to be a pilot. I want you to train them. He's like, oh, okay. So I'm going to send a transport for you and your friend in there. Who? Your new recruit. So they're going to recruit this little girl. And it just cuts to them showing up at the Jaeger training facility. So it's Top Gun. And then we meet the Val Kilmer of the Pacific Rim world, who is played by Scott Eastwood.
Oh, there you go.
And man, he looks just like his dad. So yeah, he's the Iceman. Like, I don't trust you, man. You abandoned us. You shouldn't be here. But he's in charge of training the recruits. And he's like, oh yeah, Finn Pentecost. And then the little girl is like, holy shit, did that haircut just call you Pentecost? He's like, yeah, it's my dad. She's like, whoa, you're a Pentecost. I can't believe that. He's like, yeah, I don't like talking about it. So they're walking through and they see all these cool big Jaegers, right? And she's like, whoa, Saber Athena, Titan Redeemer. Oh, look at that. That's Gypsy Avenger. Which one was yours? And he's like, that one. That was mine. And Gypsy Avenger is the rebuilt version of Gypsy Danger, which was the main guy's fucking Jaeger in the first movie. So all the recruits are called cadets, and all of the trainers are called rangers, and then all the generals are all called marshals.
Okay.
Mako is there, and it's like she's too busy to talk to anybody. She's really, she's so important now. And then we see all the rest of the recruits, and it's like that movie Ender's Game.
Yeah.
Okay.
All these young kids in jumpsuits that you don't care about. So they walk in there, and they're like, Ranger on deck! All right, this is the new girl, Amara. She's going to join you guys, and also I have a new ranger, Finn Pentecost. And they're all like, whoa, Pentecost. And there's this blonde girl, this Rusky, who does not like Amara because Amara was just building crap out of garbage. Like, she didn't earn her place. Finn goes into his room, and he's looking at his old uniforms because they're all still there. And he's like, oh, man. He's like haunted by his past. Only you don't care. So Amara and some other cadet, they're in the simulator, and they are fighting a kaiju, like in the city,
Yeah.
And they lose, and they get killed by it. And Iceman's like, I thought you gave November Handjob a run for his money. What the hell's going on here? She's like, I can't drift with this, this training crap. I don't know. And everybody's like, she doesn't belong here. She doesn't belong here. Later, Finn is in the kitchen. And he is drinking beer and eating ice cream. He's wearing some big stupid coat. There was no reason for this whatsoever. Iceman walks in. He's like, what's up with your dumbass coat? And he's like, your girlfriend likes it. Oh, yeah. That's not a joke. They met Iceman's girlfriend. And he was like, ooh, she's hot. You want a beer? Yeah, I'll take a beer. So they're drinking together, but they're like old enemies. He's like, look, man, these kids, they look up to us, and we need to find a way to work together. While they're having this conversation, Finn is making this giant ice cream sundae. And the Iceman's like, geez, man, how many toppings do you need? Oi, leave my damn toppings alone, man. Hey, man. Piss off, ghost. Iceman's like, hey, so tomorrow there's like this big dog and pony show with this new drone project. And it's like, oh, so now they have drone Jaegers. Why didn't they do that from the beginning? Drones, huh? Yeah, we might all be obsolete soon. So now the lady, the big rich lady who is in charge of this new drone project, her company is called Shao Industries. She is Madame Shao. She shows up, and her little underling employee is Charlie Day from the first movie.
All right.
Only now he's like not such a nerd. He's like kind of a cool guy. He's kind of a mover and shaker now. He's definitely, his britches have gotten bigger.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, holy shit, man. You're Stacker Pentecost's son. Oh, man, it is great to meet you. Man, he was such a great speechwriter. Did you ever hear the one about canceling the apocalypse? It was really cool. He ends up reuniting with Gottlieb, who still works for the PPDC. Stands for Pretty Penises, Dicks, and Cocks. Or the Pan-Pacific Defense Corps. Gottlieb is like, oh, I'm so glad you're here, Charlie. It's been years, but I'm working on a new experiment and I could really use, your help with it. Come here. So I've been thinking about, Jaeger deployment. And that's really the big problem, is deployment. It just takes too long. We need to be able to get the Jaegers to the kaiju quickly so that they don't even have to fight near the city. Yeah, except if our drone project goes through, you're never going to need Jaegers ever again. They're just going to be stationed all over the planet. Mm-hmm. So don't even worry about it. Oh, come on. I'm working on this thing. I've been working on it forever. You're an expert on kaiju. So why don't you just, take a look at what I've got? And he looks at his little project here and he's like, oh, so you got like these big super missile rockets that you attach onto the Jaegers and that will shoot them anywhere in the world really quickly? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Well, there's no fuel on this planet that can burn hot enough to accomplish that. And then Gottlieb is like, not on this planet, no. Oh. And it's like, oh. And then he pulls out a vial of glowing kaiju blood. Oh. What do you got there? Kaiju blood? Oh. He's like, yes, I have learned through my experiments that kaiju blood reacts very strongly with rare earth elements. Like, tertium and dildonium. Yeah. Dildonium, yeah. Charlie, I still get nightmares from the time that you and I drifted with that kaiju brain. That piece of the kaiju brain, you remember that? And Charlie gets this look in his eyes like, yep, I still get nightmares too, but I'm not going to admit it. Because in the first movie, that's how they figured out how to kill the kaiju, or even that there were aliens sending them.
Yeah.
They drifted with the kaiju brain. Drifting is where you meld minds.
Yeah.
You touch tips.
Link brains.
Yeah, so they just plugged themselves into this dead kaiju brain piece. And then Charlie's like, hey man, you know what? Why don't you come over to China and come and visit me? You can come over to the apartment. You can meet Alice. Finally you can meet Alice. That'd be nice. No. I'm far too busy. I'm too busy with my experiments, and we just need to be ready if the kaiju ever return. Yeah, all right, man. Okay, I'll see you later. But hey, good work here. Mm-hmm. So then Charlie leaves and he runs into Madame Xiao, who's like, who the fuck is that? Oh yeah, he's not important anymore, don't worry about it. You used to work together, right? Yeah, but, it's no big deal. Don't make me question your loyalty. Because she doesn't want anybody stealing her drone secrets. So now we're in the presentation for the drones, and it's like a single pilot can control one of these drones that's just as big as a Jaeger, and he can control it from, a remote location. So they have rooms of nothing but drone pilots, so they can actually send like 20 Jaeger drones at a single kaiju if it showed up.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And all of the drones look the same. They're all white.
Yeah.
In the room are all of the pilots and rangers and everybody, and they're all like, you're not going to shut us down. No way. We're pilots. We're not office workers. Later, Finn is talking to his sister Mako, and she's like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do with the Security Council because like half of them are backing Madame Xiao. So I have to go and make a decision as to if we're going to go with this drone program or not. And tomorrow I have requested Gypsy Avenger as my honor guard to show up. And so I want you to pilot it with Nate. And Finn's like, oh man, all right, but I want to be there when you tell Nate because it's going to piss him off. So it cuts to that day, and they're flying Gypsy Avenger in, on cables with helicopters and stuff. Somebody's talking to him through the radio. All right, Gypsy Avenger, pretty much all you got to do is stand there and look pretty and, try not to hurt anybody. Outside of the World Security Council, there is all this protesting going on, and it's all kaiju worshippers.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, and all their signs are like, accept enlightenment. And they're like starting to get violent. Inside Gypsy Avenger, there's Finn and Nate. And remember, they have touched tips now, so they can like think each other's thoughts. And Nate is like, stop thinking about my girlfriend, man. It's never going to happen.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then Finn's like, okay, then stop thinking about kicking my ass, because that's never going to happen. Mako is flying in her own helicopter. And she's like got her laptop open. She's just such a busy lady. All right. She looks out the window and sees hundreds of seagulls flying through the city. And she's like, what the hell? Finn and Nate notice it too, and they're like, hey, guys, are you reading this? And then back at the control, they can see this big thing on the radar, like coming towards the city in the ocean. And now we see it from above, like, looks like fucking Godzilla swimming under the water. And then boom, it busts up out of the water and lands right in front of Gypsy Avenger. And it is another Jaeger.
Oh, jeez.
What?
Yeah. And it's like black with orange lights instead of silver with blue lights, you know. It's definitely a bad Jaeger. We got a rogue Jaeger. And it's pretty cool looking, man.
That's a huge bitch.
And everybody's like, who the hell is that? And then it just starts shooting rockets at Gypsy Avenger. There's this big slow motion shot of Finn, like, looking to his right, and he watches a giant missile pass by him. And it hits the building that they're guarding. The building they're there to protect.
Oh,
Okay? And the helipad that is attached to the side of the building, just like Avengers Tower, falls. And Finn has to reach down and catch it just before it crushes Madame Shao. Then the Rogue Jaeger turns and starts firing at Mako's helicopter. And this freaks Finn out, so he jumps in to try to save her. And then these two robots just get into this huge brawl in the city. Now, remember, when kaiju attack, there are like alarms, and there's a warning system, and there's like people get underground in shelters.
Yeah.
Okay? So there was no time for that whatsoever this time. So these two robots are in this fight, and there's like slamming into buildings that are full of people. But they don't really show that. Like, you're kind of just expected to just go ahead and forget it. They're robots. They're fighting.
Yeah.
Then Gypsy Avenger pulls out its secret weapon, which was the big reveal in the first movie, is it's got a big old laser sword. Then the rogue kaiju pulls out its own, and then one from its other hand as well.
Ah, jeez.
Yeah, so it's Darth Maul. They start sword fighting. They're chopping buildings in half. It does quickly show an office full of people just like working on a new presentation for lotion. And then this giant red glowing buzzsaw just like cuts into their office. But it doesn't show any of them die, which it totally should have. Gypsy Avenger does this big powered up super punch. Okay. See, all this kind of stuff, when this happened in the first movie, it was all such a big deal. And now it's just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
They use this other weapon that they have where they can turn the hand into a laser gun, and it shoots out all this electricity, and it can like control gravity in a little area. So what he does, Gypsy Avenger, these two guys, they shoot it at a bunch of cars on the street. And all these cars like rise up and they form it into a big ball. And then they swing this ball of cars, and that's what they're fighting this Rogue Jaeger with.
Oh, that's cool.
As long as there's no people in the cars. Which is like very real possibility. So they're pretty evenly matched, and somehow Mako's chopper gets hit and is like, so it's starting to go down. Finn's like, no! He runs Gypsy Avenger straight at the chopper, and he dives and reaches his hand out to catch the helicopter, but is like one finger too far away.
Oh, no.
He ends up actually like just kind of scraping the side of it with his fingertip instead of catching it. And as that is happening, there's like a slow motion shot of Mako in the helicopter with her hand on the window. Like, sorry, Finn.
Oh.
But then real quick, she's like sending an email on her laptop, like just before she dies. Oh. And then the chopper goes down. Boom! And remember, Gypsy Avenger had dove for it, so he slams on the ground as well. Finn, like, ejects and runs to the wreckage to try to get his sister. At that point, in the distance, 3 more Jaegers are being flown in to come and fight this thing. The Rogue Jaeger turns around and sees that, and then jumps back into the ocean and escapes.
Damn.
So now we see Mako in hell with Father Dennis.
You know, I was thinking about that. Last week we did the Unholy. he goes through that sequence
Right.
where it's like, this is what hell's going to be like for you once we get you.
Yeah.
All those fleeting images of hell. And then the last image is Father Dennis cutting up a girl.
Right.
And me going through the recap editing, I'm like, it's not so bad. You know? It's like, it's all going to be horrible. And then at the end, Father Dennis is like,
Let's party.
yeah, like, at least I'm here, you know? Like he built up a rapport. Like, I'm sure he suffered for a while.
But then he got a job.
Yeah, cutting up girls. He's like, if you want a phone call from hell, you want it to be from a guy with prospects.
Yeah. A guy with some clout.
So while all that's happening, Finn goes he's in the, the Jaeger school, and he goes into the Hall of Dead Heroes. So he's looking at his dad, and now the newest photo that has been put up is his sister Mako. So pretty much, he's lost everything.
Yeah. Do we find out what happened to Blondie?
No, we don't. And that is so that Blondie can come back for the third one if he chooses.
Oh, there you go.
But they do say his name later on. And then in front of Mako, he puts down a picture of his dad, Mako, and him as a kid. Down the hall, he can hear some training going on, and he walks in, and Amara is in there training by herself in the simulator. And he's like, hey, why do you suck? You know, you piloted Scrapper so well. She's like, all of this training equipment, this is bullshit. I can't drift with this dead brain in the ceiling that they use for training. And then it shows it, and there's like an old dead brain in a jar. And Finn's like, holy shit, they're still using this old dead ass brain. Like he said a name, like it had a name. She's like, hey, I'm really sorry about your sister. He's like, yeah, she was my sister. We're family. Anyway, I'll drift with you. Like, come on, let's hook up. Let's see if we're drift compatible. Because that's the whole thing, is you got to find somebody who's compatible.
Yeah.
That's why the school is like so hard to get into. And when he's like, I'll drift with you, it's like kind of a mini inspiring moment.
Yeah.
Like one of, like a Pentecost speech, but just a taste. All right, come on, stop talking. We need to have a strong connection. Because the stronger your connection, the better you fight. She's like, okay, cool. So then they touch tips, and you can see their thoughts, and we go right to a childhood memory of Amara's. And it's her as a little girl with her family on the boardwalk. And they're all having fun, and they're taking pictures and stuff, and it's awesome. And then a giant kaiju attacks.
No.
She ends up getting separated on the boardwalk from her parents by the kaiju, like, walked through it. So now there's just, like, this big chasm.
Yeah.
And her dad is standing there at the edge yelling, all right, Amara, come on, it's okay. I will totally catch you. Just jump.
Oh,
Jump.
no.
It's got to be like 50 feet across, but it's fine. And she's like, okay, Dad, I'm going to jump. And then she runs to jump. At the very last second, the kaiju walks through it again and wipes her family out of existence.
Oh.
Now, all throughout this memory, Finn is standing there on the boardwalk with her, yelling at this tiny little girl, Amara, come on, don't stay here, come on. We gotta fight this thing. Don't get locked here, it's all right, come on, come back to me. And when her family gets crushed, they just eject out of the tip touching. When they come out of it, Amara is crying, and kind of so is Finn. Like, I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh.
Because he was feeling her feelings.
Yeah.
Nate walks in, he's like, the marshal wants to see us. Only the king and the lord marshal have the keys to these manacles. So they go in to talk to the marshal. So it's Nate, Finn, this nameless marshal, who's not special. It doesn't matter because he's going to die later. And then Gottlieb.
The science man. And he's got a cane. Remember, he's kind of crippled.
And they have found the message that Mako tried to send just before she died. But it's all scrambled. I'm sorry, I forgot to say this. But at one point, during that fight with the rogue Jaeger, he stood there and like started jamming all of the communications. So, no one could call for help, I guess. And that's what distorted her message. They're like, whatever it was, it has got to be important. Let's just try to reconstruct it a little bit and see. And it just looks like this weird drawing of like a kaiju head. Mm-hmm. And they're like, is that a kaiju? Like, what was she doing? Like, I don't know, but we need to figure out why she sent this to us and who was piloting the rogue Jaeger. I want to know that now. You guys figure this shit out. So we cut to Shao Industries in China. And Madame Shao is talking to Charlie and she's like, you fucking piece of shit. We need to be ready for that, whatever happened today. Okay. If it happens again, we need to be ready. I'm pushing up the drone deployment. We've been cleared because of that incident. And I want them ready and 100% online in 48 hours. And Charlie Day is like, 48 hours? we can't, yeah. Okay. All right, we'll do it. She leaves, and then some underling walks up, and she's like, 48 hours? We can't do that. And then Charlie Day's like, well, if you don't think we could do it, then you're fired. Or, you're promoted. I don't know. I guess we'll see. All right, come on, 48 hours, everybody. Let's get this done. So then we pan back, and we see that he's in the middle of this little lab that is in the center of the drone factory. We see all of these white Jaeger drones.
Yeah.
Hundreds. So later that night, we cut to Charlie coming home to his apartment. Remember? He talked about his girlfriend, Alice?
Yeah.
He walks in, he's like taking off his coat and his shoes, and he's like, honey, I'm home. Oh man, it was such a horrible day. My boss, she almost got killed. That would have been, geez, I guess that would have sucked. He's like spraying silver spray paint into a bag and huffing it. And like, I don't know, maybe it would have been a good thing. Anyway, I'm just so glad I'm home to you, baby. And he like picks up a remote control and turns on some music. And it's like, I want to know what love is. Yeah, you know what? Anyway, I was just thinking, why don't we just have some fun in the bedroom, okay? And he walks into his bedroom. He's like, is that what you were thinking too? All right, baby. Yeah, let's do this. And then he picks up the same kind of halo that he used to drift with Gottlieb in the first movie. And now we see who he's talking to. We see Alice. And Alice is a giant piece of a dead kaiju brain in a big tank.
Oh my God.
In the center of his bedroom. And on it, written in marker, it just says, Alice.
Oh,
and
jeez.
Yeah, and he puts the crown thing on his head and he lays back and he's like, all right, honey, let's do this.
Shit.
Isn't that fucking weird?
that is so weird.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. But the brain is like, it's like moving around inside the tank. So like, it is alive. And as he's laying back with the halo on, it's like, I want to know what love is. So it cuts to the recruits in their bunk room, and they're all crowded around a little TV screen, and they're like, yeah, go, get him. And we see what they're watching, and it's Jaeger porn. Two giant robots, like, having sex, like. It sounds like a washing machine. Yeah, get him! Then the Russian girl is like, yeah, these are real Jaegers. Not like Amara's half Jaeger she built.
What a bitch.
She is a bitch.
Yeah, like try building a Jaeger.
Yeah.
You fucking cunt.
That's pretty much what Amara said. She's like, it was a whole Jaeger. I mean, it was small, but it was a whole one. Why don't you kiss my ass? You know what? Fuck you. Fight. And they just start rolling around on the ground. Ranger on deck. And then they all stand to attention. She doesn't deserve to be here. And Nate is like, you know what? When you join the fucking Jaeger League, it's a family. All right? So even when your friends fuck you over and they abandon you or they do something stupid, and he looks over at Finn, who's like, yeah. You forgive them and you move on. Now you assholes need to act like that, okay? Okay. Now they have to go see the marshal again. Jaeger porn is frowned upon. It turns out Gottlieb has deciphered the final message from Mako. He's finally repaired it. We're able to see the image as it was. We finally see it. It's a big old dong. The kind of dong that has balls, and like the balls each have like 4 hairs coming out. Crudely done. Last moments of her life. Turns out it's also a map. It's not a thing she was trying to show him. It's a place. Dong Island. In the middle of Siberia. And it turns out there is an old abandoned, I don't know, Jaeger battery factory, something.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, why was she trying to show us this place, you know? So they go to the marshal, permission to take Gypsy Avenger and go see what the hell's going on. Yeah, granted. Go figure that shit out. So now we're out in the ice and the snow, all right? And Gypsy Avenger is like, da-goom, 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 walking through this shit. We see its face, like, close up, and it's got all these icicles dangling off of it. You know, just robot porn. But the figurative kind. They're just standing there looking at this old factory, and it is abandoned. Like, there's nothing there. It's out in the middle of the snow for some reason. And they're like, whoa, what's so special about this place? I'm not getting any, life signs or anything. And then, holy shit, incoming! And there's all these rockets firing from behind them. They turn around. There is the Rogue Jaeger, which at this point they have now started to call Obsidian Fury.
Ooh.
And it just blows up the factory. So it's like, we were gonna have some story happening.
Yeah.
But they just blew the place up. And now the robots have to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry, man. That's what happens. So they turn and they just start running across the snow towards Obsidian Fury. They're getting close to it, and Nate's like, take out his legs! And they just slide and, knock him over like fucking Charlie Brown on the baseball mound. And they tackle him, and these two robots are just crashing through glaciers and, ice cliffs and stuff, and it's really cool looking. They knock him down, and he gets up, and then his torso is turned around backwards, and he just turns back. Ooh. So it's like, robots. And then Obsidian Fury, he's got like this big reactor in his chest, like a lot of these Jaegers do, and he just starts shooting a giant laser beam out of it, just like Iron Man,
Yeah.
Oh. But he is really doing some damage to Gypsy Avenger, and they're like on their knees, like, oh man, we can't take this anymore. We got to get out of this. And then they just shoot their own laser beams downward. They break the ice underneath them, and they fall into the water underneath the ice. So then Obsidian Fury is just standing there like, yeah, all right. And then this tiny little canister just bloom, shoots out of the water, and Obsidian Fury is like staring at it, and it goes up in the air, and then it splits open into many little canisters, and then they all grow fins, they all turn into missiles, and then they blow up the ice underneath Obsidian Fury, and he falls into the water.
Oh.
Nice.
So he's in the water like, blub, blub. But Gypsy Avenger is down there waiting for him. So they're already like coming up at him, like at speed. So then they crash into him and bring him out, and they land on top of him on the ice, and they just start beating the shit out of him. And then the swords come out. What are you going to do? So they're having sword fights, and they're slashing ice mountains and stuff like that. And Nate's like, go for his power core. And they like do the whole run, slide, and slash bullshit.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, he looks hurt. All right, let's do this. They end up in another grappling match. And then finally, Gypsy Avenger just punches the heart out of this bad robot, like through his back.
Jeez.
And they crush it. So then Obsidian Fury just like falls down on its back, and it is dead. And they're like, all right, let's find out who this is. And they reach down. They're still in their big Jaeger, and they rip off the faceplate. And then Finn is like, what? They show the pilot. It's a pulsating kaiju brain.
Oh.
Damn.
Now they've taken it back to the school, and they're all like poking it in the lab with a stick. The stick kind of goes into it like a wet paper towel. Like a dead dog.
Oh.
You found in the woods when you were a kid. And they're like, okay, where the hell did this thing come from? Well, it didn't come from space. Like, it didn't come from the precursors, because all kaiju material, body parts, everything, it's got a certain radioactive half-life, and this doesn't have that shit at all. So, this brain matter was engineered here on Earth from dead kaiju brain matter.
Oh.
Right.
So Obsidian Fury's body is there as well. It's just the robot laying there. And all the recruits, all the kids, they're like, hey man, let's go up its ass. Let's check this thing out. They walk into the asshole. Inside, it just looks like the inside of a robot, but it's all covered in like this hard, crusty, semen cum type material, and everything in it is like fused together. And they're like, wow, what the hell's going on here? It's all fused together like muscle tissue. That's how it could move so cool. And I was like, how did it move cool? I guess maybe the torso spin around? I don't know. Seems like a regular robot could do that, though. Amara is looking at something. She's looking at this hose. She's like, this is weird. And then she cuts it, and acid drops out onto one of her friends.
Oh.
And he's like, ah! And it cuts to her in trouble outside the principal's office. Finn walks out, and he's like, they're totally kicking you out of school, man. She's like, yeah, I know. It's totally my fault. It was my idea to go in there and screw around. So, I get it. I gotta leave. And he's like, I quit. I left. It's no big deal. I'm still cool, One time when I was a kid, I was so mad at Nate that I decided to go and pilot a Mach 4 Jaeger all by myself just to prove that I could do it. And she was like, oh man, how far did you get? And he goes, 7 steps. She's like, no, really. How far did you get? I got 2 steps and then I blacked out from the pain because you can't pilot one by yourself. Remember that?
Yeah. Only the power of friendship can.
Yeah. So then I woke up and my dad was standing there. Stacker Pentecost. Big Driss. What did he say? He said I was dismissed and I was a disgrace. And 1 year later he was dead. So keep your head up. She's like, hey, Shao Industries. And he's like, what? Shao Industries tech was inside of Obsidian Fury. Like, that's what I was looking at when I cut the hose. And he's like, are you sure? Yeah, because the angle of the dangle and the ding-dong when you're building robots, it only gets wound one way. And Shao Industries, they wind it the other way. And that's what I found. I know that was a Shao Jaeger.
Oh, wow.
So now there's a meeting with Nate, Gottlieb, and Finn. And Gottlieb is like, no way, they don't even have a bio division. I don't know how they would have ended up making kaiju flesh. And they're like, well, Charlie Day, he works for him. Why don't you go and see your old buddy? And he's like, oh, a mission? All right, finally. Amara is now packing her stuff up. She's getting escorted out by the guards. And all the other kids are like, hey, man, sorry you're leaving because you burned me with acid. She's like, it's my fault. Don't worry about it. She's leaving. And then the Russian girl goes, Amara. She turns around. The next Jaeger you make it bigger. So she's like making peace with her, Mm-hmm. And Amara's like, you got it, bitch. So now it comes to Charlie Day, and he's like, oh my God, you guys. I don't know how he did it, but okay. All the drones are ready. It's been 48 hours, and they're 100% ready and online. And we're sending them all over the world. We're sending them, some of them over to the Jaeger school. We're going to send them all over the place. I don't know how he did this, but it's great. And yeah, we see these drones being flown around on, hanging under helicopters. And there's this giant room full of the pilots that are they're all wearing little helmets and stuff. And a bunch of those guys start like seizing and stroking out.
Yeah.
And all their screens say like, error. And everybody's like, hey man, something's going wrong. I don't know why. Find out why. What's going on here? Because they're about to look real stupid. Finally, he did the impossible. He got them all ready in 48 hours. They're being unveiled, and now some of them are flipping out.
Right.
And malfunctioning. And we see inside of these wiggy drones, they're little remote power core. The same thing that Gypsy Avenger punched out of Obsidian Fury. And all of a sudden they just go, and all of this alien glowing crap comes out of them and then just covers the inside of each drone, all of its moving parts and everything. And now in between all of the white armor plates, you see glowing kaiju flesh. And these things vamp out into kaijus with metal armor.
Whoa.
Damn.
And they just start attacking whatever they're in front of. And everybody's like, oh shit, man your Jaegers, man all Jaegers, go, go, go. And all the drones, they all look like glowing kaiju drones, but they all look the same, okay? They start attacking the school, like out on the tarmac. And everybody's running, everything's blowing up. They're blowing up Jaegers that are just sitting in their hangars. In the middle of all this is Amara on foot, because she was just about to get in the car to go home. It shows Gottlieb talking to Charlie. And he's like, listen, man, I'm telling you, it was Shao. She took your technology, your kaiju drifting capability, everything you learned from that, and she perverted it. She is the one doing all this. No. I don't know. It doesn't really seem, possible. Come on, you got to help me. You got to help me. Help me help you save the world. We can do it again. And he's like, okay. All right, we'll save the world. Okay. So they're in the elevator, and the door opens up. There's Madame Xiao and all of her gun-toting henchmen, and they take them prisoner. Just the henchmen and Gottlieb and Charlie are in the elevator, and the girl from Ipanema is playing. And then all of a sudden, Gottlieb turns around and starts hitting all of these henchmen with his cane and beating the shit out of them.
Whoa.
Like he's been training. And Charlie turns around and helps him. And they take out all of these guards. It's amazing.
Oh, my gosh.
They go into that programming lab that Charlie has been in, from time to time. And he starts like tapping away at the keyboard. He's like, yeah, don't worry. You know what? When I invented all these, I added a subroutine. Okay, so I'm just going to enter that subroutine. And, we should be able to control all of them now. So when he does this, then everything goes red. Everything is errored out. And it says on the screen, breach protocol enacted. And it's obviously bad, okay? And Gottlieb is like, oh, what did you just do? I did what I've been planning to do for the last 10 years, I'm ending the world.
Oh, God.
And it's like, oh, shit. I'm Charlie Day, turns out I'm the bad guy in the movie. And then all the drones that are in the middle of the ocean and stuff, they all gather and they start shooting laser beams out of their chests at the floor of the ocean, and they all start making breaches.
Oh, my God.
What are you doing? Why would you do this?
I don't know. Maybe because you guys are always pushing me around and, nobody ever takes me seriously, like maybe that's why he did it, Irwin. I mean, that's why I did it. And Gottlieb is like, wait, what? What did you just say? No. That's why I did it. You're not Charlie. You're a precursor. You infected Charlie whenever we drifted with that kaiju brain. And he's like, yeah, that's right. I did. So Charlie is like, no more.
Oh, wow.
Jeez.
He's like, you know what? I'm sorry, man. They're in my head, man. And then the precursor personality like totally takes over. And he's really evil, but he still acts like Charlie Day from Always Sunny. Madame Xiao comes in. She's pointing a gun at Charlie. She has figured out what's happening. And she's like, get ready to die, bitch. And then Gottlieb, who sees his friend Charlie about to die, he takes his cane and hits her gun out of the way, and Charlie escapes.
Oh.
The drones are breaking into the school. They're destroying everything. So Gottlieb now is standing there next to Madame Xiao, who is herself a pretty snazzy computer programmer, and she starts trying to attack whatever Charlie did.
This is how you do it.
Now there are real kaiju starting to come through the breaches. Through the breaches? They're coming in their breeches. Finn radios to Gottlieb, and he's like, dude, whatever the hell you guys are doing, shut it down now. I want to see some ghosts. All of a sudden, Madame Xiao finally succeeds, turns off the subroutine. All of the drones just like go blank. They go dark. They stop making the breaches. And there are kaiju like halfway through the breach that just get cut in half. Oof. And then they like float up to the top of the ocean. They're leaking all this radioactive glowing blood. It's pretty cool. But it turns out 3 of them got through. And there are 2 Category 4s and 1 Category 5. Does that mean anything to you guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
So kaiju are rated by how big and powerful they are. And throughout the first movie, they're all like 2s and 3s. And at the end, the big one they have to fight is a Category 5. And it's the first one anyone's ever seen. Mm. So they're surveying the damage now at the Jaeger school, and it turns out the only Jaeger left working is Gypsy Avenger. Oh. So it's like, man, what the fuck?
Yeah, seriously.
They're like, all right, we need to start repairing these other Jaegers. This is like rebuilding the space shuttle. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, all right, let's get it done tonight. So who are they going to need? They're going to need Amara.
Oh, yeah.
Finn's like, come on, we need your help. And he says to Nate, she's the best at putting junk together and making freaking Jaegers. So let's do this. I thought I was kicked out. Yeah, well, I just kicked you back in. Then they're like, oh my God, incoming. They turn around. There's all these ships flying in to the school. What the hell is going on now? They're all Shao Industry ships. One of the doors opens up, and there is Gottlieb. And he's like, I'm coming! I brought some help. And he just brought all of Shao's employees so they can help rebuild. You know, those are the space shuttle builders. So on the radar, they're watching these 3 kaiju, and it turns out they're not attacking cities. They're actually moving away from cities, and they're all heading out to the open ocean. And they're like all over the planet, you know, well, 3 different points. They're in the oceans. But they're all heading towards the East China Sea. And then Finn, based on that only, says, what if the kaiju were never trying to attack cities? What if they were going somewhere else, but we were just in the way? And Gottlieb is like, okay, I'm going to bring up all of the kaiju movement forever that ever happened. They do that, and we see that every kaiju was all moving towards the same spot on the planet, but nobody noticed this until now.
Oh.
And they were heading towards Mount Fuji.
Oh.
And then Gottlieb is like, oh my God, Mount Fuji is an active volcano and it's full of terdium. All of these rare earth elements. And then really quickly, they show a computer animated rendition of what would happen if a kaiju jumped into Mount Fuji. So the kaiju blood would react with all of the rare earth elements and cause this giant explosion and chain reaction that would like wipe out all the life on Earth and actually terraform Earth for the precursors.
Oh.
Like that's all it would take. Somehow the precursors knew that, and they've just been sending kaiju go to the volcano.
Fucking terraforming.
They're like, okay, let's fix the Jaegers. If all 3 of these kaiju are going towards Mount Fuji, we don't have much time. So let's do this. Hey, Gottlieb, you have some new technology you were working on for making Jaegers move faster. Is that ready yet? Well, in theory. What does in theory mean? And then the camera gets right up in Gottlieb's face, and he's like,
Oh.
and then he says, today it means yes. And then we get a montage. Dun, dun. We're fixing Jaegers. Dun, dun.
Right.
The kaiju are moving. We better hurry. Dun, dun. Montage. And then Nate, the Iceman, is like, but Finn, we still need pilots for all these Jaegers that we just fixed in 15 minutes. And Finn's like, we have them. And then it cuts to Finn walking back and forth in front of the recruits. They're all out on the tarmac in their jumpsuits, their Power Ranger uniforms. And he's like, if my dad were here, he'd make a big speech. But I'm not my dad, and I'm not a hero. I'm not a hero like Raleigh Beckett, who is Blondie.
No.
Or Marco. I'm here to tell you that it does not matter who your parents are. Everybody can be a fucking hero. Now let's mount up and get it done. Jaeger pilots, do you understand? Yes. Jaeger pilots, do you understand? Yes. And he's like, this was my speech. All right. Let's go. So now all the Jaegers, they're all standing out in the middle of the tarmac, and they've got giant rockets strapped to their backs. Gottlieb is in the control room with his finger on the button, and he is like sweating it. Because either it's going to work, or they're all going to explode. Remember, this is just kaiju blood and terdium. Then they do a big countdown, and it works. They all just launch into the sky. So everybody's cheering, yeah, there they go. And Gottlieb is like, I knew it would work. Now it cuts to Tokyo, and we see the kaiju, the actual kaiju for the first time that are there on Earth.
Yeah.
They just look like a bunch of mutant dogs. You know, with glowing eyes and maybe 7 eyes each. One of them kind of reminds you of the monster from Stranger Things, like his face like opens up
Yeah.
Or it can close and like shield its face. Know what I'm saying? The other one they showed it kind of looks like a dinosaur or something. And then the third one, I don't even remember. So they kind of didn't matter. It's weird. Anyway, they're attacking Tokyo, and everyone in Tokyo, the science of getting underground during a kaiju attack has definitely improved. There's all these giant pillars, okay, that are just all over the city, and everybody just runs into them, and then they just lower down underground.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, they evacuate the city in like 10 minutes. So all 3 kaiju have made it to Tokyo. They're destroying everything. The 4 Jaegers are on the way, and now Gottlieb is the man in the chair in the control room.
Yeah.
These 3 kaiju are moving through the city towards Mount Fuji, and then all, like 4 or 5 of these Jaegers just like land right in front of them. And it's like really cool looking, and it's just like, robots, baby. And Gottlieb is like, all right, the entire city of Tokyo is evacuated and everyone is in shelters. You are clear to engage. Roger that. On my mark. And 3, 2, 1. And they all just run at the monsters. Gypsy Avenger is running at this Category 5 kaiju when all of a sudden, big old glowing blue dick just comes out. Boom! And it shoots this like power come. And Gypsy Avenger just like flies backwards. All of the other Jaegers have to actually dodge Gypsy Avenger in slow motion. Yeah. They start shooting at that kaiju. He closes his face. It doesn't do anything. It's fine. Jaegers are punching this kaiju, and it doesn't hurt it, but then it's able to like hit it right back at them. And then in the control room, Gottlieb is like, he has the ability to absorb your energy and then throw it back at you. So, you know, Black Panther.
Yeah.
Gypsy Avenger gets up and it starts using its gravity, weapon. The thing that it picked up all the cars with.
Oh, yeah.
But because he is getting so fucked by this kaiju, he's running away from it and using the gravity weapon to just throw buildings down on the kaiju as it's chasing him. And it does not work at all.
Oh.
But it is pretty cool looking. At this point in the fight, we start to hear a whole lot of the Jaeger names, like Guardian Dildo! Incoming! Anyway, Guardian Dildo has a big old laser whip, baby! One of these Jaegers is actually a 3-pilot Jaeger. And the 3rd pilot is the Russian girl. And she gets into this little elevator thing, and her cockpit goes all the way down to the actual cock of this Jaeger. And then these giant machine guns come out of the balls and start shooting these kaiju. And they take one of them down. And they're like, yeah, all right, it ain't so tough. And then we see this giant Jaeger like flipping off this kaiju that's on the ground. It's fucking stupid. Panzer Phoenix, Cocksucker Jones. Giant robots fighting everywhere. And now we see Charlie Day is on top of a building in Tokyo, like watching the whole thing with an iPod. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, giant robots again. Okay, yeah, the real original. Okay. Yeah, good. All right, let's go, baby. Go, baby. And then he releases something new that comes out of, I don't know, the ground, wherever he had it. And it is millions of teeny tiny little kaiju robots. Like they have armor plating, but they have kaiju flesh inside of them. They're glowing and stuff.
Yeah.
And he doesn't say what they're called, but I actually read it on his iPad, and they are called Rippers.
Oh.
They just start flooding the streets, heading towards all of these Jaegers. All the Jaegers are like, all right, get ready, because we are all probably going to die from this. All the Rippers just run right past the Jaegers. And they're like, what the hell's going on here? They're all running to the kaiju. They start climbing up the kaiju and covering them, okay? And it's like, what the hell's going on? And then they start changing the kaiju. And all 3 of these kaiju are covered in these Rippers, and then they all fuse into one giant mega kaiju.
Oh.
And it's huge, man. It's the biggest thing you ever saw. It looks like a big dumbass dragon with 2 tails. But it's the biggest kaiju in the history of 2 movies.
Yeah.
Once it finally assembles, Charlie is sitting there looking at it, and he's just like, oh, shit, man.
Is it still going to Mount Fuji?
Oh, yeah. Finn and the rest of the Jaegers are like, all right, that's it. I want you to fire everything you've got at him. Come on! And then they all just attack this thing. The Mega Kaiju just punches the ground one time, and every single one of these Jaegers just flies away from it.
Whoa.
And then the Jaeger with the laser whip, he's like, it's okay, guys. I'm getting up first. I got this. I'm going to go attack him by myself. I can probably handle this. So he goes and attacks it and gets fucked with his own whip.
Oh.
They're talking to him over the radio. We see inside their cockpit, one of the pilots is dead, and the other is like bleeding out of his eyes. So that Jaeger's down, but the others are okay, and they're all, sounding off. Saber, Athena, Bracer, comb over.
Amethyst Queef.
Yeah. Okay, let's get up and attack it some more. And Gottlieb over the radio is like, okay, listen, that thing, it's got the shielding on its head, so its brain is like impenetrable. And then Finn is like, well, does it have any other brains, like secondary brains? Because, that's a thing with kaijus.
Yeah.
He's like, yes, because there were 3 of them. There are 3 brains, so start targeting those. It's a trap.
So one of the brains is in the 2 tails.
Yeah.
So they start targeting the tails, but the tails like whip around and they take out Saber Athena and Amethyst Queef. They stab Cocksucker Jones through the chest, and we see the pilots are like, whoa! And like you see a hologram tail stab through their chest.
Yeah.
Oh.
So everybody is dying. Bracer Combover has a giant ball on its hand, and it can like extend out in a chain and use it as a big like
Mace.
I believe that's called a flail. But the ball is made out of like chainsaw blade and stuff like that. It goes to attack this Mega Kaiju and then gets picked up and put in its mouth. Now that is the Jaeger that the Russian girl, some other dude, and Amara are in. And they all have to eject, and luckily they are able to do that while it's still in the kaiju mouth. And when they eject, it just looks like a coffin that's covered in rubber balls. So it fires out, and then it just bounces around the city until it stops.
Oh.
It seems like that would kill you.
Yeah.
So that kaiju, the Mega Kaiju, he's fine. And he just starts walking on, baby, going towards Mount Fuji, when Gypsy Avenger busts through a building and attacks. Now the Mega Kaiju sends its tail right through Gypsy Avenger's face. And we see in the cockpit, there's Finn and Nate, and the tail goes right between the 2 of them. And it actually hurts Nate. So Gypsy Avenger goes down. And Nate is like, maybe dying. We don't know. Mm-hmm. And we see Charlie on the roof, and he's like, yeah, ha, ha, yeah, get up from that, you pile of junk, ha, ha. And right then, the Mega Kaiju heard him say that. And it turns around and gets down, like, right into his face. And it's like Godzilla and Matthew Broderick.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And then it just moves on. And Charlie's like, bye!
He's dumb.
Yeah, he's kind of dumb. Gottlieb and Madame Chow, she's helping him out in the control room. They're like, we can't let it reach Mount Fuji. And then Finn's like, I won't. And he starts to get up. He starts to control Gypsy Avenger by himself. And we know that it's going to kill him. It's going to, explode his brain in his balls. I don't know. Yeah. But he'll die doing it. And they're like, no, the strain will kill you. And then Amara is on the streets, and she runs into the Russian girl and her other buddy. And they're like, where are you going? To regroup with the others. And she runs towards Gypsy Avenger. And there's like a big cliff in front of her. And she's like, all right, I'm coming to help you out, Finn. Catch me. And he's like, no, don't. Just get away. I'll handle this myself. And she's like, here I come. And then she runs and jumps off of the cliff, and she just falls down to her death.
No.
And then Gypsy Avenger's hand comes up, and she's standing in the hand.
No.
So then he brings Amara up into the open faceplate, because remember, it's been punched through now. And she climbs into the head of the Jaeger. And Nate just starts like, yeah, okay, I'm getting out of the suit here. Finn's like, where you going, man? I'm making room for you, buddy. So now they're friends again. now Amara has to drift with Finn, okay? So they're like getting set up to do that. Nate gets in the escape pod for his side of the head and then just jets out. Bounces around the city. So now that they have to drift and touch tips, they call it the neural hand job. Like initiating neural hand job. And now they've done it. Gypsy Avenger stands up and then like punches its fists together like, yeah, let's do this. But it turns out that Amara is not maybe that great at drifting with Finn, so they stumble around and they end up looking stupid. Finn's like, yeah, that was supposed to be epic, but whatever. Let's go. Oh, shit. The Mega Kaiju is really close to Mount Fuji. Like, you're never going to reach it in time. Well, we need to get there. Are there any more of those Kaiju blood rockets? Yeah, but you know what? It's too powerful. You're never going to be able to slow down. Well, I need to be shot up into the atmosphere. And don't worry about me slowing down. I'm going to drop this Jaeger right on top of that Kaiju. And then Amara is like, hey, my escape pod just left.
No.
It's fine. We'll both just have to use mine. And it's like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Grown man, 15-year-old girl. That was his plan. So they need this thruster. They need to get to it fast when all of a sudden, help is on the way. And there is a ship coming in and we see that it is carrying Scrapper.
Oh,
wow.
Who has now been drone-ized by Madame Shao. So she is controlling Scrapper from Mission Control.
Whoa.
Nice.
And Scrapper comes running in, holding this giant thruster over its head. And it runs up to Gypsy Avenger. And they're like, okay, how are we going to, attach it to you? Madame Shao was like, oh yeah, I can use all this new shit that I put into Scrapper, and I can weld the rocket right to your hand.
Oh.
So Scrapper welds the rocket into Gypsy Avenger's hand, and then they launch into the atmosphere. Scrapper is just holding on to Gypsy Avenger and almost gets fucked. Like, keeps losing its grip, and then bang, 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 bang. Whoop, I caught the foot. So they launch up into the atmosphere, and then they start falling. And now they're like rocketing downward, and Gypsy Avenger starts glowing red, and there's probably no way that they could be alive inside of it.
Yeah.
But you know what? Hey, space shuttles do it, so yeah, I guess it's fine. So now it's time to eject. Finn hits the button, and it's like, beep, 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 error, not working. And he's like, oh, shit. So they can't eject. There's something wrong with his pod. They're flying down so fast that Finn and Amara are like floating in the cockpit. And so now they know they're screwed. And Finn is just like, I'm sorry. Man, I'm sorry, Amara. She's like, what for? For saving the world? Come on, man. Let's do this. Your dad would be so proud. And then bang, bang, bang. They look over to the right of the cockpit and there's a hole being cut in it. And then the piece like flies away and there's Scrapper.
No.
And then his cockpit opens up. They jump in it and then Scrapper jumps off.
Oh, cool.
Because Madame Shao is controlling it. So they're just like sitting on the floor in Scrapper's cockpit. They're not strapped in or anything like that. And Finn's like, you better hold on. I'm holding on. Well, hold on harder because this is going to suck. And then they hit the side of the mountain and it turns into a ball and rolls down. And they are okay.
Oh, God.
Jeez. And now we see the Mega Kaiju is up at the edge of the volcano and it's like, looking down, like, look at that. It's a liquid lava. Just sitting there in the volcano like a bowl of soup. I'm going to jump in this bitch. And then boom, Gypsy Avenger hits it and it creates a big Death Star visible sonic wave explosion. It's the biggest explosion you've ever seen in your life. And that kaiju just like falls down the mountain and slides to a stop and it's dead. And it's like, yay, we won the day.
Wow.
And then it gets up.
Oh.
Yeah, that could have gone either way. It could have hit the kaiju and knocked him in the volcano.
Yeah.
It could have missed the kaiju and just gone right into the chili. You know? Right into the soup. So this Mega Kaiju is getting up and it's like, oh man, shit. And then it falls down dead.
Oh.
And then everybody starts cheering, yeah, yeah. Elsewhere, up on the roof is Charlie Day, and he's watching on his iPad, and he's like, no, no. Yeah. Okay, plan B. All right, you know what? There's always a plan B. It's fine. Then he turns around and gets punched in the face by Nate. And then the credits roll, baby.
Yeah.
Oh.
No. Nate gets on his radio, and he's like, just so you know, everybody, I got Charlie. They're like, good. Now on the side of the mountain, there's Finn and Amara. And she's like, wow, snow. I've never seen snow. By the way, it's snowy. That's what you're focusing on. And there's big old mega kaiju dead right over there. But, snow? Really? Snow? And she's like, shut up. No, you shut up. And they start having an endearing argument. She throws a snowball at him. And then the screen slams to black and it says, Pacific Rim Uprising.
Wow.
All right.
And thank God they put the stinger right there at the front of the credits. We just cut to Charlie Day, and he is restrained in a chair, like in the middle of the school somewhere. And he's like, everything you guys are doing is useless. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how hard you try. We will get you and your planet in the end. And then in walked Finn. And he's like, hey, Charlie, them things in your head, the precursors. Tell them not to worry about coming back for us. 'Cause now, we're coming for them.
Damn.
So, the end to Independence Day 2.
Yes. Only we'll actually get a sequel to this one.
Yeah.
This movie jumped the shark in terms of the Pacific Rim mythology.
Yeah?
And then at the end, it's like, don't worry. Next year, we're going to jump another shark.
Yeah.
Don't you think the first kaiju would have made it to Mount Fuji?
Yes.
Even the second and third. I don't like this blood science shit. I don't know. I mean,
I kind of stopped caring halfway through. Man.
rare earth elements.
Yeah. Rick, what'd you think?
Yeah. Sounds fun.
It did sound fun.
It was fun. It's not a bad movie. It just doesn't have heart.
Yeah. They should just do a scrapper movie.
That is absolutely probably going to happen. Or like a show, spin-off show.
I like that narratively. Kind of ended the way it began.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll all meet again in Pacific Rim 3, The Search for More Money.
All right, folks. If you're using iTunes or Apple Podcasts, we'd love it if you'd leave us a rating and review. Don't forget to pick a unique nickname. If it's too vague, it might not get posted. Check us out on Twitter, @MoviesWithRon. There's a Facebook page. We're on movieswithron.com and all your other favorite podcast apps. It's been fun.
Yep, we love you.
See you guys.
Take care.
Movies with Ron.
I don't know.
Was that you?
Maybe.
That was like the best one ever. Shave a man's back and he'll purr like a walrus.